All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, Anthony.
What's up, guys? What's up, Chris?
How is everyone? I don't think anybody is here yet, which makes me sad.
Oh, that's
Oh,
terrible.
there's two people here. There's two people. Y'all drop a comment. Let us know you're here so we can say hi to you. This is Prestige Worldwide, where we kind of spoofed off of the movie Step Brothers.
Kinda.
Kind of,
Kinda.
yeah, we didn't kind of, we did.
We straight up stole it.
We straight up stole it, minus the boats and hoes. We didn't have any boats and hoes.
We keep waiting for the cease and desist letter to come from somewhere at some point.
I know it.
We'll
So
ride with it
basically,
until.
yeah, I'm kind of waiting on it too. And then also the copyright infringement from the theme song.
Follow us for all the tips.
Yeah, exactly. Follow us
Business,
for more
business
tips. So what we do here is we basically just bring people on that are having issues or have questions about live streaming and or LinkedIn. And since I'm a live stream producer, Anthony is a LinkedIn coach, and I was originally going to start the show just as something that I did by myself to bring people on and troubleshoot their live stream problems. But so much of your live stream being a success hinges on your LinkedIn presence being a success. And since I learned 2% of everything I know about LinkedIn from Anthony, I figured he'd be the perfect person to bring on and
Thanks
help
for
us out
bringing
with
me in.
that. Yeah, the whole 2% that I know. So that's how the show got started. And our guest today is Jacob Roig. Jacob's a business coach, friend of mine. He's been on one of my shows before. He'll be on again next month, just to talk about his journey over the past few months and what all he's been doing and going through. So I'm looking forward to that. And without any further ado, I'm going to bring Jacob Roig out.
Hey,
What's
hey,
up,
hey.
Jacob?
Hey, Jacob.
Hello.
Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, I'm grateful to be here. I got some questions for sure.
That's good. Hopefully we have answers.
We need something to talk about.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So why don't you just tell everybody just real quick, kind of introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, well, the generic title is the business coach, but what I do is help business owners really find that time that they desire while they maintain or increase their income and double their profits. And I start with pricing for profit formula, which, if you don't know what your pricing is, it's really hard to get to the next step where you get some time off and still make money.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a big deal. And you've actually gone over some of that with me in a couple of conversations we've had. And it's great stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really brilliant. So tell us what you got for us, man.
Yeah, well, I was the first one to respond. I saw your post, and it was
you
like,
were.
oh, I got some questions. So I'm glad to be on, and the ego is really fulfilled being the first one, right? So
Right, exactly.
we're good. So, well, one thing that you just said, right, which I think is worthy of doing that, is how many people on a live stream is a good live stream, because before you said it, if I saw 8 people on or 10 people on, I think, it wasn't that good. But like, what's a good turnout for a show?
So anything really over 10, I consider good. And if you're hitting 20 to 25, you're doing something. I've watched a lot of live streams at different times of the day, and they'll have anywhere from 2 to 10 people on them, seems to be the average. I average somewhere between 10 and 20 on any given night. It took me a long time to get there, but anything over 10 is pretty good. And 20 is rock star. You have to be really like influencer level or really, really well known to get anything over 20, 25 people.
And most of the views, do most of the views come afterwards, though? Like most people, I mean, for obvious reasons, can't drop their schedule and attend a live, but like they'll watch the content afterwards, right? Do you know what percentage of total views are after the fact?
I don't have Shield. Shield breaks that down for you, I believe, because April Palmer has Shield. I just go off of how many LinkedIn says are watching during the show. So even if you're viewing, like this is not an admin view kind of thing. So if you're watching the show right now, in the top left corner of the screen, there's a number. Right now it says 2, and one of those is probably me. So I don't know who the other person is, but drop a comment. Let us know you're here.
Amy's here.
Amy's on your side. That is a good question. My experience, I've had really good luck in the evenings, like 7 Central, 8 Eastern. I've had really good luck with that. There are a few daytime shows of people that are kind of well known that'll get 20 to 30 people, but most of the time it's 5 to 10 because people are working. So I've found kind of that sweet spot is 7 Central, 8 Eastern to get maximum amount of views. And also being consistent is super important with your day and your time. When I first started streaming, I was streaming on different days of the week. I was accommodating times to fit my guests, and it was just crickets, man. Like nobody was showing up because nobody knew when I was going live. When I came back the beginning of this year, I switched it to it's going to be Monday nights at 7 Central. If that doesn't work for my guest, then I'm sorry. Not to be rude or anything. And, sometimes I'll do like a special lunchtime live or something. Like if I have a guest that's overseas and, it's kind of not realistic to expect them to be up at midnight or 2 a.m. to be a guest on your live stream. But being consistent and evenings seem to have worked really well for me. What else you got, Jacob?
All right. Well, on a little funny note, like your pictures in the beginning, Anthony, you look a little bit like John Oates in that. I can feel it. And I just want to see Chris sing like Daryl Hall.
Yeah. that will never happen.
That's for sure. And so I got a question about LinkedIn. So can you get leads without Navigator? And well, let's start there, and then I got a follow up to that one.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the short answer is yes, absolutely. Sales Navigator is a very powerful tool, but especially if you're starting out and not wanting to spend that whatever $100 a month it is for Navigator, like one of the best ways to go about generating leads is like going to your prospects' profiles and like clicking that bell underneath their banner image and like following the content that they're posting, going to it, engaging with it on a regular basis. So you're showing up as someone who is, supporting their content as a friendly face, so that when the time does come to, connect or have a conversation about sales or whatever, they're already warmed up to you because they've seen you showing up, in that supportive role. And, in the past, you were always able to do that through Sales Navigator. You could, create leads and create lists and so forth and get updates every time your prospects were posting. But just with the introduction of that little bell feature last year or whenever it came out, like that's a great way for people to do basically the same thing without making that investment in Sales Navigator. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, that was a great answer. So follow up, an additional follow up because of what you said was like, it's easy for me anyway to get caught up with the people that engage with me, which aren't always my ideal client, so that it gets me the exposure out there. And then I'm searching for people that are my ideal client, connecting with them. Like, how do you balance that part? Because I ring the bell on the people that engage with me, and then I ring the bell on these, but it's like, I don't have 100 minutes a day to go and respond.
Yeah, I don't have the answer. It's a balancing act, really. It really is, because I'm in the same situation. I try to cast a fairly broad net, and the people that I engage with, if you're putting out good content, I'm going to engage with you. I'm going to leave comments back and forth. But you do have to be, one of the questions I had recently was, I've only got a limited amount of time in my day. What's the best use of LinkedIn? And, my answer was, you need to be very intentional and strategic when you go to LinkedIn so that you don't get lost in the scroll. You go there with the intent of saying, okay, today I'm going to leave 5 comments. or today I'm going to go in, I'm going to send 10 connection requests to, prospects or just people that I want to learn from or do business with. But going there with that goal or that intent of doing something specific so that you don't get just lost in the news feed or go down a rabbit hole. And next thing you know, you've wasted a couple hours of your day.
Yeah, never done that before. Right? Yeah, go in there. It's like, I'm going to post. And then you start reading. And then an hour later, you go, oh, I need to do this. And you go, oh, man, I didn't even post. So
exactly.
Yeah, I've been there before. What's one way besides outbound outreach that you've seen work to get leads? Because the majority of us are here to get, to grow our business.
I missed the first part of that question.
Yeah. What's one way besides like outbound, like reaching out to people and doing an outbound meeting? Mm-hmm. What's one way that might be a way to generate some, interest or have people come to us instead?
Yeah. And that's really what I focus on most with my clients. It's building a personal brand. It's putting your content out there to establish that know, like, and trust factor. And like I do I do a limited amount of cold outreach, but I always say I sell through my content. I'm not a natural salesman. Like, I've got 20 years of marketing, and I've learned in 1 year of business that is not the same as sales. And frankly, I'm a terrible salesman, but I sell through the content that I post. I sell through the personal brand that I've built. So the answer to that question is like one of the most important things that you can do on LinkedIn is to, put content out on a regular basis. And that's what most people struggle with because they don't know what to post. They don't know what's appropriate. In my experience, people way overthink everything they do on LinkedIn because they feel like it has to be, just career related or just professional related posts. But as I've learned, and as so many people in my network will tell you, Chris will tell you, like the posts that you put out that just show who you are as a person, showing your personality, showing your authentic self, like that's the quickest way to build a personal brand, and weaving that into your content strategy. So people are seeing your personality, but they're also seeing your expertise in whatever field that you're in, so that when the time does come where your prospects need that product or service, you'll be top of mind. So that's really what I focus on.
Yeah, thanks. Good response for sure.
Amy had a question real quick. Jacob, let me interrupt you. Try to post consistently on my personal profile, but are there best practices for posting on a business page? That is a good question because I never post from my business page.
Yeah, same here. So what I do, just because to Jacob's point, there's limited amount of hours in the day. Like, I have a company page just so that I have a company page so it's there. But pretty much the only thing I do with that is I'll occasionally reshare some of the posts that I make on my personal profile that are related to offers and services and that sort of thing. But I saw a study recently that said that engagement on posts made by company pages is at an all-time low, whereas engagement on posts made by individual profiles is at an all-time high. And that's really no surprise, going back to what we said earlier. People connect with people a lot better than they connect with, let's just be frank, what's typically the most boring crap that most companies put out through their company pages, right? Press releases and job postings and that stuff, but that's not what people really engage with. So that's why I don't put a lot of focus on my company page. I put all of my focus really on my personal profile.
Yep, I do the same thing. I have it there just so it looks official, like whenever it shows where I work, there's a company page attached to it. Yeah. But the few times I've posted from it, the engagement on it and the reach on it was absolute crap. So I quit doing it.
Yeah, I gave it a good week, and then I quit. It's like enough, man. I can't do 2 pages.
Yeah, I know it.
I'll share a quick story. I hope I didn't share this on the last show, but if I did, I've already forgotten it. Maybe other people have forgotten it. But I was putting a proposal together for a prospect I guess it was about a month ago, and they had come to me and they said, we've got I think it was 12,000 followers to our company page, which is really strong. That's great. But as I was putting the proposal together, I went through and I added up the total number of connections among their 30 employees. And it turns out those 30 employees had over 123,000 people in their collective networks. So they thought their reach on LinkedIn was 12,000 when it was actually way greater. And that's going back to, what I said earlier is like that biggest opportunity for most companies on LinkedIn isn't the company pages. It's in the voices of their employees who are active on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really good point. Ready for me?
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Go ahead.
All right, Chris, this one's for you.
All right.
Hey, when streaming, what's like one easy strategy that people need but may not have or be aware of when you're starting out to stream?
You need to have a presence wherever you're streaming to. If you're going to stream to Facebook, make sure you have a following there. If you're going to stream to LinkedIn, you can't just show up on LinkedIn or have been here for forever and not engaging with anybody. Nobody knows who you are and expect to start a live stream and it take off and be successful. If nobody knows who you are, they're not going to sit down and watch you for 30 or 45 minutes and listen to what you have to say. You've given them no reason to. So the biggest thing I tell people is if they're ready to start tomorrow and I see they don't have any recent activity on their LinkedIn profile, I always check with potential clients. It's one thing I go look at. Then that's the first thing I tell them. Go start engaging. Spend 30 minutes a day engaging with people, letting them get to know you. Post 2 to 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. You don't have to jump into it and let it become a time suck, but spend 30 minutes a day messing around on LinkedIn a little strategically. Don't get, caught in the death scroll, but and then come back and talk to me.
Good answer too. So length of a show, like how long is a good length of show?
45 minutes is about tops. You're going to peak in viewers usually around 15 to 20 minutes is where your peak is going to be, and it's going to last through 30 to 40 minutes. Anything after about 40 to 45, people start dropping like flies. So that's one of the reasons this show is only 30 minutes. We wanted to, one, it's on my lunch break. I don't have a whole lot of time, but two, we wanted to keep it short and sweet and grab people's attention and make sure that we were fully optimizing that and we weren't just going on. So 30 to 45 minutes is about a good time length.
Cool. Back to LinkedIn. So, we all see, and I've experienced that the lurkers are the ones that usually, are the, thank you for reaching out finally. So what's a good, call to action or something to maybe entice them to, take an action that they might not take today?
Yeah. And that's a really good point. That's one thing I have seen firsthand over the last year in this business. Like 99% of my clients have been people who reached out to me who have said, hey, I followed you for the last couple of years, like your stuff, and then they became a client. Whereas I've got a tribe of people who, like Chris, who show up every post. They support me every day and love those people. Like they're great. They help build that engagement up. A really important part of the network, but those really aren't the people who are buying. So, to your point, two things you should always do. One, make sure that you have a link to your website or your latest offer or your lead magnet, like right at the top of your profile. So like earlier this year, LinkedIn added that ability to add a actual active link just below your headline. So make sure that's always there. It's always visible. You don't want to include, links and obviously offers in all of your content. But sometimes something as simple as, you have a post that's about, whatever in the comments, just use that comment as sort of a call to action. Here's 3 ways to work with me. Have a link to your online calendar or to your website so that's just visible in the comments, but not necessarily in the body of every post.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Amy had a totally unrelated question, but how did I coordinate the live stream graphics in Anthony's lights? That was actually not done on purpose. I had forgotten about Anthony's cool new light around his halo around his head whenever I did this background, and it just happened to work out right.
I'm still not sure if I like the halo. I don't know if the halo helps or hurts or what. It's something.
I like it, but I like lights. So
It's a good touch for sure.
Yeah.
I can control the lights with an app too. Like I can play with the
Yes.
intensity, and like I spent an hour the other day just playing with the lights. That was a complete waste of my time.
Speaking of a
Yeah,
time
follow
suck.
me for more time management tips.
Yeah. It's like that scrolling thing where you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Lots of rabbit holes.
Yeah, that's right. I got 2 more questions. So,
Okay.
how do you promote a live stream show? Like, what's a couple of steps, and like, what's the length of time? How many posts do you promote it for?
So I create the event in Restream, usually 4 to 5 days before the show. When you create the event in Restream, it creates the post across whatever social media platforms you're on, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter or whatever. Those traditionally get terrible reach too, which chaps my ass, because LinkedIn promotes this stuff or entices you to do these things, and then they kill the reach on the events whenever you create an event. I don't know why that is. I don't understand it. So I normally do the event 4 to 5 days ahead of time, and then the day of the show, I'll do another post promoting it and drop the link to the show in the comments.
And also, remember to promote that in other places. Like, so when we kicked off the show last week, I sent an email out to my email list just saying, hey, this is a show. Come on, ask questions. So, remember to promote it in offline channels and other digital channels outside of LinkedIn.
Yep.
Now, would you recommend creating a simple email and sending it to the guest?
I've never done that, but that probably wouldn't be a bad idea. You talking about like have an email that I would have sent to you today?
Yeah, and have me send it out the day before or 2 days before.
Oh yeah.
Oh, to your list.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Wow,
Why didn't we do that?
you.
I know.
Coaching
Why
you
didn't
guys
we
right
do
now.
that? I know it.
I'm putting on my hat. Yeah. Hey,
We'll have
here's my
Jacob
last
back on.
question.
Yeah.
We'll have
both
Jacob
you
back
guys.
on, and he can promote it next time.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
My last question is for both of you. How long or how many do I do before I see traction? So how many restreams or how many live streams, how many posts before I see traction?
You want to take the live stream, Chris?
Yeah. So much of that depends on your LinkedIn presence. Jacob, I feel like if you started doing a live stream, you start seeing pretty good traction inside of a month, because people know you. You've built relationships here. You've collaborated with all different kinds of people. People know who you are. So I would imagine that your traction would happen really, really fast. Somebody that does not have much of a presence or is building their presence while they're building their live stream, it's probably going to take 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. And the same is true for content on LinkedIn. It takes a while for people to, see who you are, to know what you're about, to have some level of trust or credibility. And it goes back to being consistent. That's one of the other biggest challenges that so many people have on LinkedIn. They'll show up, they'll get the courage to say, okay, I'm going to start posting. I'm going to start putting myself out there. And they get deflated when they get like zero engagement on their first few posts, and they just give up. But the key is really being consistent and sticking with it. And like we talked about earlier, not making it just about yourself, but contributing to that larger conversation and commenting and supporting the posts of others. Like that's really the secret sauce of building your personal brand and staying consistent.
Beautiful.
For sure.
All right, little bonus thing here. So you guys finish this. If I'm not willing to blank, don't bother.
Chris, go. If I'm not willing to, you talking about just anything in any kind of context?
For streaming.
For streaming.
So if I'm not willing to what?
Oh, be consistent. If I'm not willing to be consistent.
You stole my answer. You stole my answer.
Yeah, that's a great answer for both, really, because in my own experience, when I'm not consistent, goes south quick.
You have to be consistent and you have to be committed to it, and give some time. Like Anthony said, don't get frustrated. Give it 3 to 6 months and see what happens.
Good deal, man. I got a few gems out of this one, you guys.
Good deal.
Well, yeah, had some great questions, and like Chris and I were talking before, looking at your profile and what you're putting out in terms of content. Like, you guys follow Jacob for a really great example of how to have an optimized profile. The content you're putting out is great. So what you're doing on LinkedIn, you're crushing it as far as I'm concerned. So keep up the great work.
Yep,
Yeah,
for real.
thank you. It's always good to hear it. You wonder.
Yeah. Well, when you got people looking at your profile going, man, I don't know what kind of tips I'm going to give this dude.
Right?
Like, I was messaging Chris before the show. What are we going to tell this guy other than great job?
Yeah. You just trust, man. You just keep trusting it. That's
yeah,
my thing.
Exactly.
You got to be willing to put yourself out there. And one of the best advice I paid to grow on LinkedIn just to get better at it. And one of the best advice is just remember, man, it's like 1 day to 3 weeks. If you're really, really lucky, your post, it's going to last 1 day to 3 weeks, man. Get over it. Do another one.
Yep.
And that one day is about 99% of them. It's how long it's going to last.
Well, streaming is in my future, and part of it's not even necessarily. It is part for growth, but the other part's for repurposing and maximizing and leveraging that time, man. Because I see the beauty and the benefit of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of my main selling points when I'm talking to people is you can take a 30-minute show and just once you get good at it, it takes a little while. If you're not a video editor and you're learning how to clip, and like I do it really basically, I clip it out, I throw it in Wave to put captions on it, then I put it in Canva for a title bar. I'm sure there's probably easier ways to do it, but those are the softwares I use. It kind of gets, it takes a little time to get used to that. To get used to it, the most time consuming part is going through and finding the clips. Because you have to sit there and kind of watch the whole thing. Okay, I want to clip timestamp 1835 to 2022 or whatever. But you can, out of a 30-minute show, like we could pull 10 clips out of this and have content for the next month or two.
And probably get a lot more views and traction overall in the long run. But you're getting new content to post, but you're also promoting the show when you do that. So it's sort of a double win there.
Yep, for sure.
And I'll be posting a video from you and I. What we did, I had it edited tomorrow. I think it's coming out.
Okay.
So yeah, it works, and having it edited just puts sprinkles on the already good. It does. Sunday, man, chocolate sundae.
Yeah, if you have it professionally edited, then it takes it to the whole other level. Hey, Scott Carson, you showed up just in time to tell us goodbye.
Scott and Anthony both. You're late to the party. We're glad you're here.
You guys enjoyed these $1 Million Secrets, and it's not recorded.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We solved the meaning of life today. Yeah, we did that. We appreciate y'all. Jacob, we appreciate you for being here. Everybody that showed up in the audience, we appreciate y'all. In 2 weeks on the 1st, same time, 12:15 Central, we have Marcelina Sermon is going to be our guest. Marcelina she sees the value in LinkedIn, and she is trying like hell to get her company on board with it. So she's going to come on and ask a lot of questions and pick Anthony's brain and see what he has to say and all that good stuff. So that'll be fun.
Looking forward.
Thank you guys for having me on. Really good answers, man. I learned for sure.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all have an amazing rest of your week, and we will see y'all in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.